I love Kevin Smith. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about a brand new film, and that is Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I need to know, are you guys a fan of Kevin Smith and his askewniverse? Were you excited for this film? Let's talk about it. So the stoner icons who first hit the screen 25 years ago in Clerks are back. When Jay and Silent Bob discover that Hollywood is rebooting an old movie based on them, the clueless duo embark on yet another cross-country mission to stop it all over again. This movie, of course, stars Kevin Smith as Silent Bob and Jason Mewes as Jay, the duo that everyone knows and pretty much loves. If you know them, you love them. That's the way it goes. Two of the best supporting characters of all time. Then, of course, they got their movie, the original Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, all the way back in 2001. Something that they play off of in this film, absolutely. That 18-year gap, they continue to acknowledge things that you hope they're going to acknowledge in this movie. And, of course, their famous insertion of cameos. Y'all know it's coming. I'm not going to ruin who shows up in this movie. You can probably anticipate some of them because some of them are returning characters from other films in this askewniverse. Some of them are returning characters from the original Jay and Silent Bob, and a couple of them are newcomers to this franchise, if you will. And there are characters from other movies that are popping up here. Listen, Kevin Smith, he goes all out in this movie. He does not just take one risk. He takes multiple risks, and he is going for it in every way, shape, and form. He is going after studios, not necessarily in a bad way. I say this hoping that you guys understand where Kevin Smith is coming from, because as much as some people don't like the guy, I love the guy. I think what he does is great because he understands what he wants to do in his films, and you have to respect someone like that. Even though I don't love all of his movies, I can acknowledge that the man is a filmmaker. He makes all of the mistakes that filmmakers often do, but he also he knows when to compromise. He understands when he has to make a certain decision to allow that film, whatever particular film it is, to flourish. And every movie that he does, he always understands what that particular film is going for. And they've all been so significantly different. Like I said, I have not loved all of them. I really enjoy the original Jay and Silent Bob film. I think it does a lot right. In terms of being a satirical Hollywood movie playing on so many different aspects of the way that the film industry works and certain actors and actresses and just things that people knew back then to be truth, but Kevin Smith coming out and saying, no, I'm going to prove it to you with this movie that everything can either be made fun of or can just be joked about in a way that everyone can accept. He did that, and he did that well. I'm not saying that film completely works. There are clear issues when you look at how certain elements hold up. It didn't have the biggest budget, so of course the special effects aren't going to be the best. Narratively, it's maybe not the most cohesive story in the world, but you're not necessarily in a movie like that for the story. I said it before, I'll say it again. Kevin Smith, he knows his movies inside and out. So when he wants to hit a specific audience or he wants his film to prove a point, it is going to do that regardless of how many people love it or hate it. So I enjoy the original. I definitely enjoy the moments more than I do the movie as a whole, but I still highly appreciate it for what it is, and it brought us so many iconic, memorable moments. The cameos, like I said, are fantastic in that film. You get Ben Affleck, Mark Hamill, Matt Damon, one after another, Carrie Fisher. They're all coming in there, and you're like, this is just like, it's playing on everything right now. It's playing on pop culture. It's doing everything that you want a satirical film to do. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot captures the magic that was brought in the original movie and actually brings us a more cohesive film. And I don't mean to say it like a film critic would say it, but I do think Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, there's a nice message in the midst of the madness, in the midst of the tragic nature of so many elements of this movie, because there's a lot that goes on here. And I mean plot point after story point, and they acknowledge it in the film. It's not something that Kevin Smith didn't mean to put in there. He says it in the movie. He's like, listen, I know there's a lot going on right now. Are we going to tie all these plot points up? You guys will have to wait and find out. That fourth wall breaking that we know and love from this universe, it's back, it's present, absolutely. And I say there are so many story points because, I mean, there are a lot, man. You're bringing in characters from the other films. You are creating a brand new story with Jay and Silent Bob, setting them out on a very similar adventure, but an adventure with different stakes, an adventure that is a bit more emotional, a bit more heartfelt than the last. The jokes are definitely present. The laughs are 1000% going to be there. The moments from Jay and Silent Bob that you want to see and you're just hoping walking into the theater, am I going to get this line of dialogue? Is this character going to make a cameo and have this interaction with Jay and or Silent Bob? Everything that you want in that vein, in that nature, is in there. Kevin Smith made this movie to appease fans of this franchise, to appease fans of not only the Jay and Silent Bob film, but of his entire askewniverse, like I said before, because he crams it all in, and sometimes it feels like he is kind of cramming it all in. When you're in the third act and they're playing up the emotional level, the emotional stakes of what the story is doing, you're not going to be all the way there like Jason Mewes is as Jay. And let's stop, let's take a breath, let's talk about Jason Mewes real quick. Oh man, has this guy improved or what? I mean, and not to say that he was a bad actor before, but I've watched Kevin Smith tell this story. The guy was not an actor. He was just a really entertaining and funny guy that Kevin Smith brought along. And even in the original 2001 film, and I know I keep saying the original, it's not the first time they popped up, but it is their first movie centered around them. He was still working on it. He was still not struggling being an actor, but there were moments I'm like, well, the acting's not the best. And you can say that about many elements of this entire franchise, but his improvement, and I don't know what the guy did, I don't know what he went through to be significantly better in this film, but oh my goodness, his emotional range. And let's just hit on Kevin Smith's daughter real quick as well, Harley Quinn Smith. She's the shining beacon of the entire film to me. She's so good. So good. Her acting is far beyond what the story called for, because it's a cliched story. Is it meant to be cliched? Probably. It's called Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. They are playing on the remake, reboot, sequel, prequel mentality of Hollywood and the comic book industry and what the Marvel movies do, what the DC movies are doing. So many references and Easter eggs to all of those things that you expect. Some really heartfelt moments hitting on certain individuals that played a big part in our hearts. And stay through the credits, by the way, because, wow, my goodness, did that thing almost break me up. Anyway, back to how good his daughter is in this movie, because, oh my God, Kevin Smith, you raised her right, man. Let me tell you, I may not be overwhelmed with this film, but one, I had a great time, and two, I'm fascinated with how good your daughter was in this movie, and how good multiple performances were, that I do think maybe ended up taking this one step above the first in terms of acting quality all around, even down to the cameos. You have some top-tier actors in here. I'm not all the way there on the filmmaking at times. I think some of the transitions were a bit sloppy. The actual story, while I really loved the acting, I wasn't as emotionally hooked as maybe others will be that are invested in this universe. I'm here for the gags, I'm here for the jokes, I'm here for the cameos, I'm here for Kevin Smith, daggone it. And really, as a fan looking for that, this movie is crazy, it's off the rails, it's wacky, it's quirky, it is self-aware, but it does everything that it sets out to do. And that is why Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, if you are a fan of Kevin Smith, this is absolutely a recommendation from me. And if you're not and you just want to have a wacky time in the theater, my goodness, you may want to go check this out if you get the chance. Support the man and his films. Here's how I'm going to judge this one today, because normally I give you guys one score. This one is a bit more difficult to give one score to, because the quality of the film is sloppy at times. So I am going to go a 62% for my critic score, and I'm going to go a 70% for the casual, we will say, the Kevin Smith hardcore fan. both positive scores, but I have to judge this on one side of my brain based off of quality, and then the other side's like, but Austin, Kevin Smith, and his Kevin Smithism, so they're kind of fighting. Either way, it's a recommendation from me. It's just a really fun and crazy time in the theater. You will see nothing else like it in 2019, and at the end of the day, thank you, Kevin Smith, for continuing to do what you do. Even though, like I said, I am not a fan of all of your movies, I will come right out and say that, but you know what? You continue to put your blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, and I think everyone can tell who watches your films. Thank you so much for watching this video. You guys are truly the best. I'll be back with many more reviews this week, from Zombieland 2 to Maleficent. Number 2, Mistress of Evil. You guys are the best. I'll see you soon.